Chris Bevins, who's doing some of it, and which tells you how much Justin was doing before. We basically oversee the whole creative process. It's not what technically a line producer is supposed to do. If you look up the definition of line producer, that's not us. We're more along the lines of a creative producer. So initially I do the casting, and then I do the overseeing the scripts, making sure that the scripts, that I approve of them, and then watching whatever has been directed, if it's not my own direction, and watching the mix, making sure the mix is at the levels that I prefer, and kind of keeping in touch with the marketing department. Sorry, one more time.
Actually, that has been discussed by several people, yeah. My other job is I'm a comic book artist, and I'm going to be doing...
Excellent comic book artist.
Thank you, sweetie. I've got a 3-book deal with Tokyo Pop right now.
An excellent deal with Tokyo Pop.
That's all right. But the first book should be out this time next year, but one of the things that they have is a production company that they're setting up just to do that, to take original concepts in manga and turn them into anime here in this country. Yeah. Yes?
How does it feel to walk into a place like this and all of a sudden be a celebrity?
We were just talking about that, actually.
Not so much huge, but...
Room full of people.
Yeah, wait, so what were you saying? You were saying
Well, one of my favorite cartoonists had said that this kind of fame is the best kind of fame, because you're not mauled when you walk down the street, but you can go to some place like this and suddenly you're famous and you're signing autographs. So whenever you need your ego stroked, you go to a convention. And then you want your privacy, you just not go to the convention, because nobody gives a shit who you are outside of a convention. Okay. Well,
It's an interesting kind of thing, though, because this is actually one of the few industries where the fans are as involved as they are in the process. The fans of anime are extremely fanatic. It's the same with sci-fi, it's the same with gaming, and it's more so than movies or with music or.
And they probably listen to more too.
Yeah, so they have set opinions coming in of whether or not you're going to be good, or whether or not you're right for it, or whether or not your studio is right to produce this, and it's a lot to face up to.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, in the back.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I love the Samurai 7 series, and that got picked up by ISP. I was wondering if you see that's going to help it grow, so it doesn't have to be always on like the cartoon channel or anime network. Maybe it's going to hurt some anime.
Did we announce it yet?
What did you say?
He wants to know about Samurai 7 being on more than cartoon channels.
Yeah, have we announced that yet?
Yes.
It started on ISP.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
if that's announced, yeah, it's going to be on the Independent Film Channel.
Yeah.
Step forward and step back, but kind of.
I think that's a step forward to what Colleen was saying earlier, about making it more like the Japanese culture, where you'll be watching one primetime show and the next thing you're watching anime. I encourage that because that's more money.
I know that we're courting a lot of different stations right now, and the marketing department is definitely stepping up to the mark. It's not the same as it used to be, where we have set shows that we've taken in from Japan that the producers, the higher-up producers, are saying that we bought this so that it could go on TV, we bought these so they could be DVD. We're throwing everything we have at them, and that includes Cartoon Network, it includes IFC, it includes a hopefully a bunch of different stations.
Spike TV.
Yeah, Spike TV. And that's not to say anything's
HBO's
going on
been
there,
thrown in
but
the mix.
yeah. So hopefully you'll see an increase.
That yellow bikini is very distracting.
That's my sister.
Two sisters.
Oh my god.
Hi! Hi, Miss Bikini.
Yay, Riku! You're my favorite person to fight with.
Anyway, I know that in the industry there are people who choose what comes over, the people who make it into dub, and then the people who market it. What do you know about how somebody would get into fitness, or what do you know period
acquisitions.
Like it's over here, like going over to Japan and talking with them.
We were talking about that too today. Yeah, our acquisitions department is also stepping up to the mark. It's something that hasn't really been looked into because when Funimation started out, it wasn't so much about fans who were trying to bring things over here. It was more about Dragon Ball Z is big. Let's make it big over here.
Actually, Gen, who started doing the Dragon Ball Z here, it turns out he was a relative to Akira Toriyama, and one of his relatives just approached him and said, do you realize that one of your relatives has the biggest show ever in Japan, and it hits #1 in every market it goes to, and he will only market it to relatives, and would be interested if you'd like to do it. And he said, I guess. He had no idea what it was, and it turned out to be a gold mine.
So as far as acquisitions now, I know that we are not actually looking for anybody actively, but I think that market is growing, and it would be something that you would want to get into marketing first. Get into marketing, and that kind of transfers, because our brand managers tend to head that direction.
Yep.
Anybody? How much time do we have? Are we cool?
We're good on time. Okay.
We're good on time?
Pat?
If anybody wants to use the mic to ask a question, thank you.
I'll go earn my living.
Yes, yay! Oh, hearing the
it's like
questions,
Phil
hearing the
Donahue.
questions. I've been guessing up to now.
Given the first episodes you indicate tend to be kind of weak, is there any reason you don't record out of order? So the first episode that ends up in the new type DVDs and stuff is of higher quality?
We did that with GT.
It's.
I don't think it helped.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no point in the series that you want to be weak, and obviously try to make it not weak in the beginning. And something that we're doing now and we're making more use of is pickups, going back in and getting stuff over again. And I don't think there's any way to avoid starting out a series and letting the characters find themselves. That's just the way it's always going to be. And honestly, that's the way it is in Japan too. If you look at the animes, the weaker episodes are the first ones.
It's like that in any television show,
Yeah.
live action or whatever. I mean, the first show is going to be a little bit rough because everyone's trying to find the chemistry.
Although in this case, you have sort of a unique opportunity to start with, say, episode 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's true, but they still have to. The characters still have to find themselves. The actors still have to find the characters, and the only way they can start that is if they are introduced to them in the way that they are introduced to the series.
And like Funimation, where we've had actors who worked with each other before, I mean, a lot of shows can start off with some nice chemistry just because you know what these people can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they're going to interact. But I think it's always going to be rough at the beginning. Yes?
I don't know if you guys had anything to do with Biddy Cootie, but that was only 6 episodes long. How would something like that work?
So like I did the Lupin the Third movies, okay? And now that, you got a new cast on every show. So that's up to the director to spend a lot of time, researching it and finding out what they want to say before they go in, and taking as much time as it takes. And it can be done. A lot of times, though, you're not given that luxury. You've got to get out a show on a regular time, and you only have this much time to get it done. You're not going to sacrifice quality, but you can't, stress over every little detail. But if you're doing a movie, you kind of put off into a little island to yourself, and you've got the luxury to stress over everything.
And frequently there aren't the time crunches that there are with the series, which is helpful too, although that's not always the case. But
not always.
Yeah, sometimes the time crunches, it's just one thing that people don't know is our release dates are set prior to the contract being signed with the Japanese. Our release dates are set before we even know that we have the property. And then it's up to the Japanese and the Americans who are in touch with them to figure out we need these materials, we need them on this date, and that never happens. Just because of miscommunications or because the contract hasn't been signed yet. We don't want to sign the contract until you give us this. We don't want to give you this until you sign the contract. So by the end, we have the materials to write the scripts, and the scripts need to be written in a week and a half, and then we need to have the first 4 episodes out in 2.5 weeks because they have to be laid back because that's the date. And the time crunch kind of stops after a little while. After you've got some stuff released, you go back to an easy pace. So that's another reason why the first episodes are going to be a little bit more rushed.
Yeah, that is a terrible situation because you're right. When the first few episodes, those have to be done really quickly so they can be sent out and sold and pitched.
And approved by the
And those are also
Japanese.
the ones that you have to work on the hardest because that's the ones that everyone's just starting out in.
It's the nature of the business, though.
Yeah, it is. You just have to bite it. I was already critiquing myself in just what you guys are watching Moonphase. I was going, I don't like that first scene. And the rest of it started clicking for me, but I could see how, I could hear my voice clicking into the character as the scenes progressed.
And I can say the same as the director. Now I know some things to go back and tell our mix engineer that I want to change about the mix. Things will be changed just from having viewed that.
Now, there was a certain anime where they took out the complete Japanese dialogue because it was supposed to be serious and then replaced it and all made it funny. What do you think about doing something like that?
I would love to do that to Baki.
That would be something that is usually approached by the Japanese as we want this to be this. And if we are told to turn it into a comedy, then obviously we will. If we're told to scrap the entire plot, then we will. If that's the only way we can get the property. I know of one show right now. I don't know about the one that he's talking about, but I know of one show right now that we have that the Japanese wouldn't let us continue with it if we didn't take the entire translation and throw it out the window. It's got to be funnier, and it's got to be funny for an American audience. And so something like that, even take Kodacha for instance. A lot of the translations of Kodacha are completely different, and it's not because we didn't keep the original plot, and it's not because we didn't like the original show. It's because we want it to be to Americans what it was to the Japanese. In Japan, it was pop culture funny. It was fast paced, and all of the they even animated a bunch of idiosyncrasies with language and that kind of thing that don't make any sense in America. So we have to take that and change it and make it current for American pop culture. And we definitely are told by the Japanese to do that. I think that's actually a misconception about how much the Japanese have to do with our decision making.
Yeah.
It's something that Funimation, and not I say us, but really I mean Funimation, something that Funimation has to deal with is that they take the flak frequently for things that really they didn't decide.
Yeah, I was wondering if you two have like websites with everything you've done on there. And that way.
Go to sunnystraight.biz, or you can go to my MySpace.
Okay, do both of you have MySpace?
Both of us are on MySpace, yeah.
I'm backspace Sonion, SONION, and she's backspace
Colleen SC.
Colleen SC.
Yeah, but you can look us both up by our names, and if you find one of us, you can find the other one because we
Harass each other.
terrorize each other constantly.
That sounds good.
Hopping.
Yes,
For like 2
definitely
weeks, we
topping.
changed our themes every day.
We have drive-by themings. I'll stop there.
It's true. She'll drive by.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts. Go.
Pop-Tarts. Fine. No. Websites, I don't have my website up just yet, but I know that you can find a lot of the things that we've done on like Anime News Network, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was wondering, what was the most difficult voice you had to perform for both of you?
For me, probably Krillin. That was really taxing on my voice. And when my voice gets hoarse, it's the only voice I can do. What about you?
For me, I guess it would depend on what you mean. Technically, like, it hurt my throat the most to do Maria in Burst Angel. Doesn't sound like it would, but it really killed my throat. Thankfully, she didn't talk very much. And not technically, but acting-wise, Mama in Kodacha took me a good 8 episodes. You'll notice that I'm pretty weak in those episodes. A good 8 episodes to figure out what she was all about. And I was directing. I'd seen the whole series when I started, and I was like, it was too weird to even find somebody else and cast somebody else and get them to do it. Because if I couldn't explain it to myself, I couldn't explain to anybody else. So I gave myself the shit job. And actually, she turned out to be my favorite character. So.
She's very hard on herself when it comes to that character, too. I directed her in one episode, and I was just like, look at her go. She's just directing herself going, no, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks. It's almost right. Hey, let me try one more. Go. And then she tried it out like, yeah, I can. No, one more.
It's hard because she's such a Japanese character.
Yeah.